The unveiling of the all-new 2025 Blacksnake Super A-10 Warthog has sent shockwaves throughout the global defense community, a transformation that merges decades of battlefield dominance with a cutting edge of 21st century innovation. The A-10, lovingly known as the Warthog by troops on the ground, has long been feared by enemy armor and loved by American soldiers, thanks to its unmatched ability to bring the thunder exactly where it's needed. But what the 2025 upgrade brings to the table is nothing short of revolutionary. The Black Snake program, named after the Indiana Air National Guard's 122nd Fighter Wing, which has been at the forefront of A-10 operations, has completely reimagined this already fearsome machine. Outfitted with advanced composite armor, the 2025 Super Warthog now boasts greater survivability than ever before. In live-fire tests, it withstood direct hits from modern man-pads and continued flying, proof that the legend of the flying tank is more alive than ever. The avionics have also been overhauled, integrating state-of-the-art battlefield networking systems that allow the Super A-10 to operate seamlessly alongside F-35s, MQ-9 drones, and even future sixth-generation aircraft. With a new AESA radar and infrared targeting system bolted into its rugged frame, the Super A-10 can now detect and engage targets before they even see it coming. The cockpit is a leap into the future as well, with a fully digital glass display, voice command capabilities, and augmented reality overlays that provide pilots with real-time data fused from satellites, AWACS, and ground forces. What's more, the 2025 A-10s now include an AI-powered co-pilot system that analyzes threats, recommends evasive maneuvers, and optimizes fire control, all while leaving the human pilot in command. And of course, the A-10's iconic GU-8 Avenger cannon, the monstrous 30mm rotary gun capable of firing nearly 4,000 rounds per minute, has been retained and refined. Engineers have incorporated recoil dampening tech in new, depleted uranium-tipped rounds that can penetrate even the most advanced Russian and Chinese armor platforms. In field tests, the Blacksnake Super A-10 shredded through enemy formations, cutting T-90 tanks and mobile SAM platforms to pieces in seconds. Additionally, the Super A-10 has received enhanced engine upgrades that give it faster acceleration and greater loiter time over the battlefield. Powered by a modified version of the TF-34 engine with thrust vectoring and lower heat signature, this aircraft can remain on station for hours, acting as a flying guardian for troops in contact. The upgrade also allows the A-10 to operate in high-threat environments where only stealth or electronic warfare-capable aircraft once dare to fly. In a shocking demonstration during joint NATO exercises, the Blacksnake flew into a simulated contested airspace saturated with radar and enemy fighters. With support from Growlers and F-35s, the Warthog not only survived, it delivered pinpoint strikes on moving targets with zero losses. Ground commanders reported record-breaking close air support response times, and some are now calling the 2025 A-10 the Ghost Hammer for its ability to seemingly appear out of nowhere and unleash hell. The Blacksnake variant also carries a broader weapons package. In addition to usual AGM-65 Mavericks and DAMs, the Super A-10 now sports advanced laser-guided rockets, mini smart bombs, and even anti-ship missiles for coastal interdiction roles. There's talk in Pentagon circles about adapting it for maritime security operations in the South China Sea, a move that would expand its combat theater far beyond traditional roles. But what truly sets the Super A-10 apart in 2025 is its ability to act as a command and control node on the battlefield. With battlefield uplinks and drone coordination protocols, a single A-10 can now direct swarms of loitering munitions, cue ISR platforms, and even deliver real-time intelligence to Marines pinned down behind enemy lines. One Air Force pilot described it best. The Warthog used to be a hammer. Now it's a brain with claws. In terms of deployment, the Blacksnake A-10s have already been seen in forward air bases in Eastern Europe, where tensions with Russian forces have not subsided. Reports confirm they're patrolling borders and participating in joint readiness exercises with Ukrainian and Polish forces. In one drill, a Super A-10 eliminated a column of armored vehicles in less than 12 minutes, all while under simulated electronic jamming conditions. The performance stunned NATO observers, who called the mission profile textbook perfection. The psychological impact of the Warthog's roar continues to be felt too. Insurgents and adversaries in training simulations have shown visible panic during overflights, and mock battlefield reports indicate that the sound of the Avenger cannon still induces fear and confusion, even among hardened operators. For the American warfighter, this effect is priceless, an airborne guardian angel that signals reinforcements have arrived. And while many thought the A-10 was on its way out, the Blacksnake program has proven otherwise. With bipartisan support in Congress, funding for additional upgrades is already locked in, and other squadrons across the U.S. are now expected to receive their own Super A-10s by 2026. The Air Force has even hinted at integrating hypersonic weapon compatibility into future models. As the defense landscape evolves, the 2025 Blacksnake Super A-10 Warthog remains a symbol of American air power, rugged, relentless, and now reborn for the battles of tomorrow. It is a terrifying message to America's enemies. If you threaten our forces, prepare to face the upgraded beast that has been protecting them for over 40 years. And now, more lethal than ever. Would you like a thumbnail for this video title too? As dawn broke over the rugged terrain of Nevada's Nellis Air Force Base, the rumble of something extraordinary echoed across the desert. A beast reborn, the 2025 Blacksnake Super A-10 Warthog, now equipped with the most advanced battlefield technologies the world has ever seen. This wasn't just an upgrade. It was a revolution, reinforced with radar-absorbing materials and a newly designed stealth condor frame. The new Super A-10 wasn't just made to survive the battlefield. It was built to dominate it. With the announcement of its arrival, enemies of the United States began recalculating their strategies overnight, because the one aircraft they thought was aging out of relevance had now become their worst nightmare. The new Blacksnake variant featured a groundbreaking AI-assisted targeting system that could identify, lock, and eliminate targets with surgical precision, even in dense urban environments or mountainous terrain where traditional targeting failed. This was no longer just about brute force. The Super A-10 brought a brain to the brawn. Ground troops knew that if they called for close air support, this aircraft would not only respond within minutes, but deliver results with pinpoint lethality. Embedded with next-gen battlefield data links, the aircraft can now integrate seamlessly with F-35s, Reaper drones, and even Army combat units in real time. For Joint Command operations, this was a force multiplier like nothing before. And let's talk firepower. The upgraded GU-8/A Avenger cannon, already a legend in its own right, now featured a hybridized ammo feed system that allowed it to switch between depleted uranium rounds, thermobaric shells, and smart fragmentation rounds on the fly. One pilot described firing the new system as feeling like holding Thor's hammer with laser sighting. In testing, it shredded tank formations at Fort Irwin that were specifically hardened to resist conventional anti-armor weapons. Military observers were left speechless. Some even whispered that this aircraft could render armored warfare obsolete. But the airframe itself had evolved. Hardened against both kinetic and cyber warfare threats, the aircraft featured redundant control pathways shielded against EMPs and hacking attempts. Its engines were upgraded to high-efficiency turbofans with variable geometry nozzles that allowed it to maneuver with unthinkable agility for a plane of its size. This meant low-speed passes that were dead silent until the moment of strike, and then vanishing before enemy radar could react. And then came the International Showcase, a dramatic live-fire exercise over the Pacific, attended by representatives from NATO allies and skeptical observers from rival nations. When the Blacksnake screamed low across the ocean's surface and popped up to obliterate a simulated missile silo in a single pass, the shockwave wasn't just physical, it was strategic. Military analysts in China, Russia, and Iran scrambled to assess what just happened. Satellite footage showed not only precision hits, but zero-heat signature departure trails, something previously thought impossible for a ground attack aircraft. What shocked the world even more was the pilot interface, a fully immersive heads-up display integrated into the pilot's visor, complete with real-time terrain mapping, threat identification, and voice-assisted control. It was as if the aircraft became an extension of the pilot's instincts. And speaking of pilots, the Blacksnake was now operable by both humans and remote AI control, giving commanders the flexibility to launch high-risk missions with unmanned capacity when needed. In scenarios where a human pilot was critical, the cockpit offered zero-G cushioning, emergency survival ejection pods, and life-sign telemetry that could be routed to medevac units even before a plane returned to base. Veterans who once flew the original A-10s in Afghanistan and Iraq were stunned by the transformation. Many of them toured the new aircraft and emerged shaking their heads in awe, some with tears in their eyes. "This isn't just a jet," one former pilot said. "This is the soul of the Warthog reborn in fire and steel." The emotional weight behind the return of this legendary aircraft resonated deeply across the U.S. military community, a message that America does not forget what works, and when it reinvents something, it does so with overwhelming purpose. Behind the scenes, Pentagon officials confirmed that the Blacksnake Super A-10 was greenlit for full production after outperforming every expectation in simulated and real-world trials. Reports leaked that these aircraft will be deployed to forward operating bases in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the Pacific within the year. It was a move that sent a clear signal. The U.S. was preparing for every scenario, and the A-10 was no longer a relic of the past, but a vanguard of future air-ground dominance. But what truly pushed the 2025 Blacksnake Super A-10 Warthog into the realm of legendary aircraft wasn't just its survivability or upgraded firepower. It was how it fundamentally changed the role of close air support in modern warfare. The battlefield has evolved. Enemies are no longer limited to static positions or open terrain. They're mobile, spread across complex environments like urban jungles, mountain ranges, and high-tech defense networks. The Super A-10 responded with an integrated AI-assisted target acquisition system that could identify, prioritize, and track multiple hostile units at once, even while under heavy electronic jamming. Using advanced sensor fusion from a combination of synthetic aperture radar, long-wave infrared, and quantum lidar, this beast could fly into a chaos-filled battlefield and paint the enemy with pinpoint accuracy, even when visibility was near zero. Imagine a convoy of enemy tanks hidden beneath camouflage netting, surrounded by dense forest. Try to sneak through a mountain pass at night. The Blacksnake would see it all, lock on silently, and rain down destruction before they ever knew they were spotted. That level of battlefield awareness wasn't science fiction anymore. It was now. And when it struck hard. Its underwing pylons carried everything from precision-guided dams to bunker-busting penetrators, hypersonic air-to-ground missiles, and a brand-new class of loitering munitions that could swarm, recon, and strike from above like mechanical hawks of death. Each sortie wasn't just a mission. It was a psychological campaign, a statement to America's adversaries that no hiding place was safe, no advance would go unpunished. The Blacksnake also carried a revolutionary electromagnetic countermeasure pod that could disable enemy radar arrays and redirect incoming missiles mid-flight. Houthi radar stations, Russian S-500s, and even Chinese DF systems could maintain lock-on for more than 2 seconds before being blinded or overwhelmed by decoys and signal flares. The Warthog was no longer just a tank killer. It was an airborne ghost, striking fast, vanishing quicker. But perhaps what made the world take notice, what truly shocked the global defense community, was when it debuted in live combat. A surprise Iranian offensive in the Strait of Hormuz saw U.S. forces under heavy rocket fire, pinned down with civilian tankers nearby. Within 11 minutes of receiving the distress call, a pair of Blacksnake Super A-10s roared into the zone. One delivered a carpet of smoke-screening ordnance, while the other unleashed pinpoint strikes that disabled the enemy's mobile artillery. Iranian drones scrambled for retaliation, but the A-10s deployed drone hunter missiles mid-air, new micro-warheads that detonated in a directed EMP burst, frying circuit boards instantly. The entire engagement lasted 7 minutes. The strike footage was declassified 3 days later and broadcast around the globe. Defense analysts from Europe to Asia replayed it in disbelief. How can something that tough, that slow, that old in design, become the most terrifying bird in the sky? The answer was clear, because the A-10 was never about speed. It was about dominance. And the 2025 Blacksnake had just rewritten the rules of battlefield supremacy. And yet, despite its brute power and tech wizardry, pilots reported something unexpected. The aircraft felt alive. The AI didn't just assist with targeting. It worked alongside the pilot like a loyal wingman. Voice-activate commands allowed pilots to shift modes, reroute power, or even call in satellite recon without touching a single switch. Pilots said the response time was faster than thought, like the aircraft knew what was needed before the pilot spoke. One squadron leader even joked, "It's like she reads my mind, and she's always angry at the bad guys." This sentiment wasn't just romanticism. The Blacksnake had been designed with human-machine synergy in mind from day one. The cockpit displayed biometric feedback in real time, adjusting interface brightness, control resistance, and HUD layout based on pilot stress levels. If a pilot was fatigued mid-flight, the system compensated by adjusting responsiveness and rerouting non-essential tasks to automated co-systems. Long missions over the South China Sea became less taxing, more effective, and exponentially more deadly for the enemy. And that's when the world realized something terrifying. America didn't just upgrade the A-10. It evolved it into a war-fighting species of its own. Russia called it a flying war god. China accused the U.S. of violating the natural limits of aircraft warfare. Iran said it defied the will of Allah. Meanwhile, NATO allies quietly requested tech-sharing agreements and purchase options. Even neutral countries in South America began reassessing their air defense doctrines. In short, the Super A-10 hadn't just entered the global stage. It kicked the door open, snarling. And back home, defense contractors weren't done yet. Future variants were already being mocked up. One with autonomous escort drones that launched from the Warthog's wings, another with anti-satellite weaponry, and even a naval variant optimized for carrier operations with foldable wings and reinforced landing gear. America wasn't looking for parity anymore. It was charging ahead, and the Blacksnake was leading the way. Every adversary who thought the Warthog was a relic, a slow-moving relic of Cold War doctrine, now saw it for what it truly was. A phoenix, reborn with steel talons and a predator's eyes. In the era of cyber warfare, drones, and AI dogfights, it carried something no algorithm could replicate. Fear. Fear born not from mystery, but from a track record of devastation. And now, that devastation had a new name, Blacksnake. The 2025 Blacksnake Super A-10 Warthog, nicknamed for its venomous precision and unyielding tenacity, is the most fearsome close air support aircraft the world has seen, and its emergence has sent shockwaves through both ally and adversary ranks alike. Reimagined and supercharged for a new era of warfare, this upgraded version of the legendary A-10 Thunderbolt II brings brute force and unmatched survivability into the 21st century battle space with a vengeance. What sets this beast apart isn't just its terrifying 30mm GU Ada Avenger cannon, which now boasts an improved fire control system and higher accuracy rates, but the fact that it's now integrated with state-of-the-art sensor fusion, electronic warfare capabilities, and upgraded propulsion that defies the limitations of its legacy platform. With new composite armor panels, active threat detection systems, and even limited stealth coatings on critical surfaces, the Blacksnake isn't just a flying tank anymore. It's a tank-hunting specter that lurks above the battlefield, invisible to the untrained eye until it unleashes absolute devastation. Pilots say flying the new Super A-10 is like wrestling a dragon that's grown wings of fire and claws of titanium. Its cockpit, redesigned with next-gen HUDs, AI-assisted targeting, and ultra-durable displays, gives the pilot unmatched situational awareness and control, even in high-threat environments teeming with man-pads, radar-guided SAMs, and swarm drones. On a recent U.S. Air Force demonstration sortie in the Mojave Desert, the Blacksnake effortlessly evaded a simulated integrated air defense system, then eliminated 20 armored targets with surgical precision using a combination of upgraded smart munitions, laser-guided rockets, and its iconic chain gun, all within minutes. And perhaps most shocking to global observers is that the Super A-10 did this while operating from a remote, rugged, unprepared airstrip, emphasizing its unmatched deployability and resilience. The aircraft is also equipped with advanced infrared suppression systems and modular engine housing that allows for rapid in-the-field repairs, meaning even after taking damage, it can be patched and returned to combat faster than any modern fighter jet. U.S. military strategists are now planning to deploy the Super A-10 in mixed joint task force operations, pairing it with F-35s for target designation and long-range ISR drones for threat mapping, effectively turning the Warthog into a final hammer of justice in multi-domain operations. Russia, China, and Iran have all voiced concerns in internal defense memos leaked to intelligence networks, calling the Super A-10 a serious escalation in U.S. battlefield dominance, with one anonymous Chinese PLA colonel quoted as saying, "This is not an aircraft. It is a battlefield exterminator." Even NATO partners were stunned at its first operational test during Exercise Iron Talon 2025, where the Blacksnake neutralized a simulated armored invasion force in record time, with near-zero collateral damage, earning it the nickname the Scalpel with Fangs. In the halls of the Pentagon, commanders are now discussing integrating the Super A-10 into rapid response squadrons, meaning it could be the first on scene in any future hot zone from the South China Sea to Eastern Europe. The aircraft's ability to loiter for extended durations and maintain precision fire support makes it an ideal companion for ground troops in high-risk missions. For veterans who once flew or maintained the old A-10s, the return of this aircraft in such an evolved, terrifying form is both nostalgic and awe-inspiring. One combat experience crew chief stated, "This thing isn't just back, it's reborn, and it's pissed." And with a combat endurance of over 10 hours, the ability to carry triple the munitions of its predecessor, and a terrifying reputation that has already been weaponized in psychological warfare campaigns, the Blacksnake Super A-10 is here not just to win battles, but to dominate the narrative of modern air-ground combat itself. As the 2025 military year unfolds, defense analysts worldwide are revising their threat matrices and rethinking how close air support will evolve in an era where the sky is no longer safe for tanks, convoys, or entrenched enemy positions. Because now, when warfighters on the ground hear the telltale BRRT of the GAU-8 echoing across the valley, they know salvation or judgment is coming fast, cloaked in armor, fury, and the scream of twin engines that carry the wrath of the United States Air Force.